take a look at Newcastle Motorsports Park as we get set to go for the Pro Show. We're happy to have you with us for today. I'm Justin Prince alongside Nate Dean. Here is your track map for today's facility. Nate, this track is ready to do battle today.
Yeah, Justin, just over a mile long. We've gotten all the semi-pro classes done and dusted. It's time for the Pro Show with OKN Junior, a class that saw so much battling last year, but right now, the Kart class track map. Just over a mile in length, 18 corners, and so many passing opportunities that we've seen from Saturday morning up until now. And there is the OKN Junior grid on the track in turn 18, ready to go, Justin, for their main event. We've seen some epic battling in this class so far, some unfortunate DNFs for our front runners in Moto 2 that are going to put them further back, but such a high level of skill between these junior drivers, some of the best in the nation, set to do battle for this main event.
Tristan Murphy getting the chance to control things here at the front, but some of the others, like Cameron Johnson, looking to bounce back after we seen a chaotic Moto 2 yesterday. He wants those in row 3. As a result, some of the attrition earlier on yesterday, he looks to be number 1 here today. You throw a lot of other competitors like the Kotowskis, like Nico, for example. He's trying to move himself for the inside of row number 2 here this afternoon. He's looked pretty fast over the course of the weekend and looks to get a good jump with the way things could go over the course of 17 minutes. While others like Savage look to try and savagely find their way through this pack.
Yeah, talking more about Nico, he's had a ton of pace in the KA Junior grid. He's been lacking a little bit here, but here is Parker Ives, the driver who won at Charlotte Motor Speedway for round 1. The Queen City Gambit will be trying to become king of the castle in OKNJ. Of course, an early exit for him in Moto 2 puts him a little bit further back than he would have wanted. But Justin, of course, with a slightly condensed grid, it's not going to be as huge of a setback for him. That's being said, though, like I've reiterated, a very talented group of drivers we have in the junior class.
Absolutely. With the way things could go today, this is going to be one of those types of races you want to keep yourself clean despite that in. Help yourself with the points. As the drivers are getting the chance to roll and get themselves ready to get racing. Once again, it's Stars Championship Series presented by Mazda Motorsports. It is the Pro Show. It's here on Kart Chaser. They'll get a lap to make sure their tires are up to temperature before they get rolling and fighting for the wins today. But today, it'll be Tristan Murphy's Ryan Perry Motorsport machine that will have an opportunity to try and be one of those to prove they can back up the speed. Remember, was one of the fastest karts on track. They'll be the fastest karts in your grid with the sort on points. Maxwell Macha, Nico Kotowski, and Jackson Baldus in the top 4. Ives and Johnson in row 3 with Achilles Saperco followed by Grayson Walcott, Vitor, and Savage, your top 10.
Yeah, looking at that front row, Tristan Murphy, there's Colton Schneeberg starting in 11th. The RPM machine, the 187, looking to get up 10 spots at the end of these 17 minutes plus 2 laps, excuse me. But Justin, the first of the Pro Show, 3 classes, the best in the business, set to do battle at one of the most famous tracks in American karting, Newcastle Motorsports Park. 17 minutes, 2 laps to decide it.
And ready to see which driver comes up on top today. We're happy to have you with us here on Kart Chaser, set from Newcastle Motorsports Park. Green flag is out, we're underway.
Massive jump from Macha on the outside. Murphy gonna go through. Kotowski getting passed by Baldus on the host driver development and high 5 performance split livery there. Into the shark fin. Baldus almost up into second as Murphy will hold on.
Murphy amongst those trying to play the defense. Same can be said as well. A couple kart lanes back with Ives trying to fight. They all rumble their way, coming to the green corner this time onward. So far, so clean. And right now, Macha showing how much he wants to power his way in the clean air away from Murphy and Co.
Yeah, I mean, these are crucial laps for Maxwell Mancha. You have 3 drivers or so behind, especially Parker Ives and Cameron Johnson, who've shown to be the 2 quickest drivers throughout this weekend thus far, who have to get by multiple other karts to be able to catch up to your race leader. So if you are Maxwell Mancha on that parallel, you're using this time to build as much of a gap to the field as you can before you see that 148 RPM Tony kart on your rear bumper.
So it's about 4 or 5 kart lanes on the advantage to start. Ives shuffles back into the line once again for now. We talked so much about some of the drivers over the course of this weekend. Snegenberg, though, look at his charge up. He's already up to 6th on the pylon last scoring loop. And that's from the back after being involved in the attrition earlier. The 187 is flying.
Yeah, Colton Schneegenberg, one of the many drivers who have run this OKN Junior package over in Europe for the WSK series, and he's found success over there as well. Not as much success, oddly, as he's found over here in the United States. He struggled here and there, but found a ton of success over in the European circuit. It's an engine package he's very familiar with on a track when it starts to grip up even more and more, starts to resemble those European circuits with the high grip that you tend to find there. With the heat coming down here at Newcastle Motorsports Park, he's going to be one to look out for. Should say, too, we've been talking about these 3 between Ives, Schneegenberg, and Johnson. Some may be thinking, well, they're not making that big of headway right now. Yeah, but those drivers probably having a setup that's going to favor them towards the end of this race, as Katowski going defensive from the previous race winner.
And it's important to mention that too, because this is the longest race by far these drivers have had on the weekend here, where these competitors now are going to zoom upwards of, give or take, with how many lap time we have in laps. You're 18, you're 20 laps, give or take-ish roughly. So that's going to be a lot of time. You have to make sure you don't go past that 100% window or get to that cliffing point where you're falling off tenths a lap.
This is going to be a big learning curve for some of these drivers to conserve the piece that they have underneath them and to not use all of it at the start. Make sure you still have a kart and tires, an engine that's up to the right temperature at the end of this race, because obviously no points being paid, no trophy being paid for where you are in the first couple of laps. It all depends where you end up on this thing, obviously. And those drivers all will know that. So we're probably going to see a bit of a slow start to this race now once we've seen all the jostling at the start. Maybe not a lot happening, a pass here or there, but once we get to the end and drivers can really start to ramp it up to 110%, that's where we're going to see the action.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case too. Mancha is still setting fastest laps, but only by a couple 1,000s at the moment for the Paralympic camp. So far, so solid for him. And I will say, with what we've seen when it comes to Mancha, he's been able to put up some Mancha performances again, I like to say, when it comes to him. Was second in Miami Grands, has done well when it comes to his time racing in general over the course of the year, looks solid and very competitive in general. It's going to be tough to take that race lead away from that 174, so we still keep an eye on Baldus and Co.
Yeah, Baldus, I believe, gained a win at Newcastle for Route 66 Sprint Series a couple of weekends ago. Knows how to get it done around here. Same too does Hoach Driver Development, the team that he is with this weekend. It's 12 minutes to go as they cross the line next time by. Again, not a whole lot happening. These drivers just conserving what they have thus far. You can see the drivers that started a little bit further back. Colton Schneegenberg now leads that trio. Parker Ives already going to the radiator, trying to open that up, give him a little bit more cooling power on that OKNJ platform as to not overheat it and lose engine performance. Track temp has gone up over the past couple of hours. We have less clouds than we did yesterday, Justin, so obviously the sun getting to that track surface, heating it up, potentially making it a bit more greasy, and with the hotter surface, allowing more rubber to go down. There you see 111, one of the higher marks we've seen throughout the weekend thus far. Still only 75 degrees ambient right now in the air, so it's still nice to be outside, not hot or humid or anything, so at least that's fine. But the track definitely starting to feel the wear of all these cars circling around it all weekend, putting down rubber, and now the additional heat here on Sunday.
And mind you, the wind isn't as big of a factor as yesterday either, per se. It's a little bit here and there, but some of the camera ops did mention during some of the races it had died down pretty significantly, actually. It's not as gusty as yesterday to cause impact for the corners.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see as there it goes, fastest lap, and Schniegenberg to the inside of Baldus. Parker Ives trying to find a way through, unable to do that. Cameron Johnson will be right there to help out Ives, but you can see as Johnson does get by Parker Ives. That was a surprise move from the National Motorsports driver. Switchback City through the shark fin. Ives does get by. You're not going to be wanting to do that too much and allowing Macha, who's obviously fast at this stage of the race, to get away. That being said, though, Tristan Murphy making his way up. Quick point to add to what you said, Justin, about the wind. Obviously, like you said, it's not been as heavy as what we've seen throughout this weekend. However, the way the wind is going, it is causing a headwind going into I-70, so that's going to help the likes of Tristan Murphy potentially this lap.
Let's keep an eye on it here. He is within a good drafting distance, a couple Kart lengths. Murphy did set his personal best last time in the threes, in the 108.3 specifically. These tires still getting up to temperature with the way they're set up here right now this time. Let's find out. Murphy, purple lap, 108 flat, 3/10 quicker than Mancha. Not enough to pass, but it's definitely enough to keep within a kart length or two.
Yeah, not quite there, so taking into consideration 2.5 tenths isn't really close enough to make that move out of the final corner going into I-70. Going to need to be a little bit closer than that. Will Murphy or hope for a mistake from Macha out of the final corner? It's something we've seen all weekend, Justin. There's already a rut starting to form. There's been a rut starting to form almost since the first practice sessions on Saturday of drivers dropping the left side tire, and of course a mistake like that, having to go down almost 1,000-foot straightaway to I-70, is going to pay dividends for that.
Right now, as we go about, Schniegenberg, we're keeping an eye on his group. Front of Baldus now up in the fourth spot. How's his pace looking? Well, it's up and down because he's also been making a fair amount of passes. His personal best is up in the threes. That was a couple laps ago. Average is more so in the fives in the past three. Compared to that here, Parker Ives right now running 108.2s this time. Ives just hasn't been able to find the track position. They're also chasing down Katowski. He's doing a really good job maintaining and keeping that gap up against everybody else.
Yeah, Katowski's kind of been in this P3 position since Moto 2, a bit in no man's land, not really falling into the clutches of the drivers behind, but not really closing in to the drivers in front. Speaking of up front, back up front with our race leaders, Maxwell Macha on that Paralin machine with Murphy right behind Macha. One of the few drivers here running the Paralin kart in the bigger sized classes, that being junior and senior. When you move up to that full size chassis, of course it is a chassis of choice when you're in the Swift classes, but struggling a little bit has that team in the full size competition. Obviously they do so incredibly well over in Europe, and we've been talking about the similarities of a European track with the high grip, high speed. I mean, it's all coming together. Potentially this could be a huge win for Macha and the team. That being said, though, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. 7 minutes and 30 seconds plus 2 laps still remaining here.
Just set his personal best into the 107s now. Fastest lap of the race, Parker Ives just set it as well. For comparison, it was 26 1/1000ths quicker than that time that was put up. And the thing is, for Ives, it's taken a bit to get the speed together. The problem is, can the 148 get it consistently? They're 3 seconds back compared to these cars.
Yeah, I mean, perfectly said, Justin. He's going to need to find even more pace lap after lap for these next couple of circuits if he wants any chance at closing in. He's also going to need to hope that Murphy finds a little bit of pace, too, to try and bring it to Maxwell Macha and really slow those two down, make them lose a little bit of time within their battle for the lead to bring other drivers into contention as well, especially Katowski. He needs something at this point of the race. 2.4 seconds back last time across the stripe for the Trinity Karting Group Barrel Art driver. Across the timing and scoring line yet again, and he's already falling under pressure from Parker Ives. He's going to look to the inside into the kink of turn 1 and gets it done before I-70.
Ives got the edge initially, and there's the pass back. Look at Katowski right back along. Back and forth they go with Schneegenberg. Now looking to the inside for a moment. He tucks into line, and Johnson takes the move for the switchback on Schneegenberg through the shark fin. That brings him up with touch. But Ives tried to go for the podium spots. Now we'll have to do it all over again as Katowski drives them around green.
It's a really uncomfortable position that Katowski is in right now because he doesn't have the pace to defend from these drivers behind for the next 5 minutes plus 2 laps. I mean, podium is third, so he's fighting for that right now. He has the other option, of course, to not fight them too much, allow these 3 to go up and fight for the race win and potentially bring drivers back. But of course, that's a long shot. There's a lot of things that might be going through Katowski's mind as things stand, but still, there you see the gap between Murphy and Katowski. 2.7 seconds might extend this time by. Cross the timing and scoring beacon. We'll wait for that to update. Still about the same between them. 3 seconds now, excuse me, and he's already going defensive here, Justin. This is crucial laps for the likes of Parker Ives, Johnson, and Schneegenberg. They need to clear the Burrell now as lead change up front. Murphy to the lead.
Tristan Murphy getting the chance to jump up to the point. Now control this pack is, oh, contact Katowski! Off he goes on the racetrack, and with the spin with the 148 of Ives, contact sees chaos about.
Parker Ives will not defend his race win from Charlotte Motor Speedway a couple of weekends ago. Unfortunate for him, and it's going to allow Cameron Johnson and Colton Schneegenberg to try and take it away from these 2. Murphy leading by a couple of tenths over Maxwell Macha. Through the 90s they go. Still 4 minutes remain when they cross the stripe, and then add on 2 laps to the end of that. We'll see if Macha made some sort of mistake or if he's still quick in this stage of the race. He decided to push Murphy right now, pushing Murphy a little far into the braking zone than maybe the 111 may have been comfortable with, but we'll have to wait and see. Here's a replay of what happened on the exit of scoreboard, and just fighting for the same piece of real estate. I think Katowski was opening up for the corner. Ives was right on the outside trying to hold it, and I don't think Katowski was really expecting there to be an RPM OTK on his outside, opening up for the corner. Nothing we can really judge from there. We'll let Stars Championship officials do their job and place blame if needed, of course, but back out in front, we still have a race for the lead here, Justin. Tristan Murphy seems to have fallen off a little bit on the pace front from what we've seen the past couple of laps. He's really struggling to hold that rear end underneath him right now, just sliding through the corners when Macha, very minimal steering movements from him. Macha seems like the more comfortable driver right now.
Yeah, you see that with how he just got planted on the exit in particular. Now the run built up. Does Macha go for it this time? No. But he knows he's got the cushion. He's got 5 seconds after all between him and Johnson. Macha does. He's going to take it at shark fin. Like the opportunity better. Gets himself a bigger advantage than the potential of a switchback through there for Murphy.
I will say, for anyone watching on, looking at Cameron Johnson's thinking at this point, 4.9 seconds, that's kind of out of it for Cameron Johnson. Need I remind you, last year when John Antonino won this race, I think he was about 3 seconds or so back on the last lap and ended up winning it in a star-studded finish last year. So don't count out the Nash Motorsports driver. Obviously, Nash know how to win in this class. They did it with Chase Gasly at lead a couple of years ago here at King of the Castle. So with 2 minutes plus 2 laps remaining, still anything on the board, but it's going to be hard to stop Macha so quick at this stage.
Yeah, able to jump away and then some. This lap since the pass, a little bit of dust kicked up. It's a half a second distance between the 2 of them. With about 2 minutes to work with up on the board. 5.1 seconds between first and third, 4.5 between second and third. Talked about the importance of what could be coming through if Macha holds on here. Talk about how strong the run this could be as well, by the way, for Bald. It's still a top 5. Vitor is up at 6th after starting towards the tail. Schneegenberg still maintaining his +6. As they battle it out towards the end here, curious of what's going to be the thoughts on some coming up. James Overbeck caught up with Kyle Comfortson.
Thank you, Justin. Here in the tent with James Overbeck moments before rolling to the grid. James, you're starting P4. Tell me how you're feeling.
I'm feeling decent. I feel like been kind of getting a little bit better all weekend long, and I think I've just been getting more comfortable in the package. Had to miss Charlotte, so it's been since September I've been in this thing. I haven't practiced at all, so it definitely has taken some getting back used to. The difference in the speed, it's a lot different than the X30 stuff. So yeah, I think that's honestly been the biggest variable all weekend, just me getting back used to it. Power's been solid, Kart's been good. We haven't had to change much so far, so hopefully I can get a good start. I feel like that'll be the big sign. I know Blake is really fast, and even Antonino's fast as well, so we'll just see what we have. I feel like I had a pretty good warm-up this morning. I feel good about our piece, so like I said, it'll just be up to the start, and we'll go from there.
You're the defending winner of this race. Any similarities to last year?
I mean, some. I watched my video from last year a lot of times throughout the week, just to compare kind of where I need to be and some of the references I need to use. But honestly, watching that video, I've been trying to coach myself all weekend just how to get back used to this thing and just to stay calm. While you're going fast, but you can't manhandle it. So, yeah, we obviously had a really good weekend last year, but hopefully we can repeat again.
All right, thank you, James. Good luck. As you can hear, everything's heating up down here for OKN Stars. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you very much as we're down to 2 laps to go in this one. Macha holds on in front, still maintaining just under a 3/10 gap between him and Murphy. They are still maintaining their advantage of 5 seconds. It's these two for the win. Murphy slowly getting back there. Macha still staying steady.
Yeah, Murphy about a 10th quicker last time by. By no means is it over yet. Cameron Johnson down in 3rd. Might be too late for Cameron Johnson. Still looking at a decent podium for points, and obviously for that program, as you can see, engines fired and ready to go for OKN Stars. After this, the BJR camp getting set. We're back out on track. Maxwell Macha checking over his shoulder yet again. He sees that gap that has grown far bigger than 3/10 of a second last time they came across the timing and scoring loop. Tristan Murphy is going to need to wheel that thing for the next mile or so to try and get to the back end of the 174.
White flag is out, final time around. Right now, Macha maintains about a half a second gap. Can he make sure there's no mistakes? Macha has been solid wherever he's driven, looking for his first win of the year in major competition. Last year he picked up several opportunities, including winning Miami Grands back last August. Today, he looks to pick up a Stars win to add to his totals, at least in OKN Junior. Half a lap to go.
Yeah, Maxwell Macha has this covered right now as long as he doesn't drop a tire, make any mistakes. I don't think Murphy has the pace to close right now. Murphy is probably going to be one of those races, Justin, where he thinks just a couple more laps and I could have got it, but it's going to be close at the line.
Coming on through to the checker flag this time. Murphy needs a miracle. Macha has the advantage for the 90s. For Maxwell Macha, he's been one of the strong talents coming up from the minis in the past year. Macha jumps to the juniors, gets OKNJ to his resume.
Another win, another impressive win to an impressive resume for Maxwell Macha. He's crowned king of the castle here for OKN Junior. An impressive run for him and for OKNJ in 3 years, 3 different chassis. Winning in this class, going the way of OTK, Kart Republic, and now Parallel on the top step. Have to shout out Murphy, though. He was there the entire race, pressuring Maxwell Macha. Cameron Johnson is the final driver on that podium of your top 3. Jackson Baldus, quick shout out to him. That's a very impressive run from the Hotes Driver Development Squad. Colton Schniegenberg unable to use the pace that he found earlier on in the weekend in this main event. Just not able to cut through the field that we would have thought. Vitor, Spirko, Walcott, Savage, and then Katowski and Ives, your 2 DNFs.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for Katowski and Ives, who had good pace. Just contact takes them out through scoreboard. But Maxwell Mancha gets to put his name at the top of the scoreboard. The 174, getting the job done on the racetrack, gets the chance to celebrate. All congrats for one Maxwell Mancha.
Sign of respect shown there, congratulating Tristan Murphy. Max, big winner today. Battle on early. Tell me about that race.
Yeah, I was scared starting from second, you know. But really, everything else was like, but after Tristan passed me, stayed with him for a few laps, tried to get his draft, and passed him back, and tried to win, and that's what I did.
Put the Paralyn on P1 over the last couple of years. This is the first time the Paralyn has won an OKNJ. How do you feel about that?
I feel really proud of myself for running in this car, and I haven't had a win since in Mini in my first race, so I'm really proud of myself.
Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yes, I want to thank Legree for these engines, my mom and dad, my coach Marco, and Ben for doing the setup, and thank you for Kart Chaser for doing this coverage, because without this we wouldn't be seeing anything right now, so I really want to thank them too, and yeah.
That was Maxwell Mancha, your OKNJ King of the Castle.
Thank you very much, as Maxwell Mancha able to get the job done indeed. Let's take a break. Coming up, OKN Stars ready to shine bright here in Indiana.
Wins the Wisconsin Grand Prix. James Overbeck on start number 2 gets win number 1 in OKN Stars.
On track or off, Brandon Jarsekrak Racing delivers elite performance. Led by 4-time Pro National Champion Brandon Jarsekrak, our team masters driver coaching, data-driven analysis, and mechanical precision at every national event. Contact us today at BrandonJarsekrakRacing.com.
Champions aren't just born on the kart track. At SimShop, we deliver professional-grade simulators with the best performance-to-price ratio in the industry. Founded by racers who understand what you need, our SimMagic and Moza equipment is powerful enough for the pros, yet affordable for everyone. With unmatched customer support and a thriving community, we're your racing partner. Visit simshop.com today.
Welcome back, everyone, to today's coverage of the Stars Championship Series presented by Mazda Motorsports as we continue on with the Pro Show. OKN Stars are all discussing how things went earlier and leading into today's final. Remember, the Motos have put on a show when it comes to some of the battles, Nate, you can describe. Let's take a look at the Coastal Inc. recap and talk about these motos.
Yeah, Moto 1, Blake Nash getting a good jump and really setting the precedent this weekend. Diego Ramos taking matters into his own hands early, trying to dethrone Blake Nash, and those two went at it really for the rest of the weekend. Chase Gasly has shown a ton of pace as well, fighting with race winner in OKN, Paulie Massimino, is really everyone inside this top 5 or so getting their elbows out but showing race-winning pace.
Yeah, we had a lot of back and forth affairs as a result. That included Nash continuously passing after passing. But eventually we did have a red flag situation for Eric Doan. We got back going. John Antonino was then recoiled and reset. and that allowed Nash to power his way through. Gets by Ramos, eventually gets up to Massimino and Antonino, and sets himself out to streak his way forward. Passes by the 40, then passes by the 93 to take home the first moto. Pulled off and away by a sizable margin of 10 kart lengths towards the end. By Moto 2, different conditions, much cloudier, and it started with Nash amongst those with the elbows out and off the track.
Absolutely, and it was alluded to by Kyle Cuthbert saying the drivers were going to be gunning for Blake Nash with the pace advantage he had, and obviously we saw that with the contact between him and John Antonino. Back up front, though, Rocket Racing Company has really nailed down their 125 platform, and there you see that ejected Blake Nash watching as they went on without him. Paulie Massimino and Chase Gasly Kremers having a puncture on that left rear that put him further down. It's been an up and down OKN program for him in 2026.
Paulie Massimino, meanwhile, ran away up at the front and is one of those that has momentum here today. Interestingly, none of us ended up picking him on the pick'em earlier today. There's a good chance for that. Same for Overbeck if he can find some rhythm. Those two, some of those that have picked up some wins this year and in the past year, whether here or whether in multiple series in the case of Massimino.
I mean, look, we've done enough pick'ems this year where Paulie Massimino has been the favorite. We had to switch it up just a little bit this time for King of the Castle, but if you're a betting man, you would not want to count against Paulie Massimino into 125 competition, one of the strongest drivers in the nation right now. So too with this man, Diego Ramos, a Supernats champion, a race winner in 2026. He's going to be gunning for a race win to bring home to the Red Army.
Yes, absolutely, especially with what we've seen here today from them. Getting all the gloves together and making sure the equipment is done just right. Then you have Nash. We already talked a little bit about his ups and downs this weekend. It's one of the karts that has a great opportunity with this weekend to help with the point situations and be able to position up further. He's down in 9th for reference when we get rolling here, right alongside Eric Doan, and that was with Doan having an out as well for his sake in the PSL karting machine.
Yeah, cool to see Eric Doan. Sorry to step over you there, Justin. I'm going to make this quick. Cool to see Eric Doan back. He obviously had that scary wreck yesterday, but as they get fired and set to go, OKN Stars ready for main event action.
And ready to roll to begin things off for their final of 17 minutes plus 2 laps. They won't get the chance again to warm up the tires, but we have an issue. It's Ramos. Something's wrong. It won't fire.
We've seen this so much in OKN, Justin, with it's a couple drivers usually have issues getting these power plants going. Ramos going to the airbox, going to the needles. They think they might have this. PSL will give it another go. Hopefully they get this thing fired. Pull on the release valve to make it a little bit easier to push. They might have, no, they don't. Ramos in early retirement. He is out of OKN Stars.
Before this race, he was projected to be one of your top drivers in the point standings pre-drop. And now instead, it's a DNF for kart number 3. Off the track he goes. He was scheduled to start 3rd behind Massimino and Antonino.
Yeah, he was. He was my pick, so that's an unfortunate way to start off this OKN Stars main event. Nonetheless, show goes on. Paulie Massimino, John Antonino will be on that front row. Chase Gasly will move up to the second row with the Diego Ramos not starting, but it's the same drivers you've seen all weekend. You know them well, making their way through the 90s for the final time on this pace lap. Martin Kremer starting outside the top 10. The world champion will be wanting to get a good result for him. Carblos Racing and Maranello USA. The final corner as they come to a crawl into the tram lines. Justin, OKN Stars ready to get underway.
Who will be the one that shines brightly, and who's going to be the king of the castle at Newcastle? Massimino sets up on the left side. Right side for Antonino on your picture. And waits for the outside. Massimino ready to fire. We're underway for OKN Stars.
aggressive move there from John Antonino to immediately chop down on Chase Gassioli. Really good jump for Aiden Lorenko, who gets displaced by his teammate James Overbeck. Already 3 wide through shark fin. Lorenko, a little bit of contact with Marin Kremers, who now has Blake Nash fighting with Lorenko and getting by for about 6th or so. Up into green corner for the first time in anger, and it's Paulie Massimino. Who else leading the way?
Massimino looking to continue what's been a stellar 2026. Pressure building on behind with Gassioli and co. They continue to go. Overbeck stays off of the 4th position. Side by side building up just outside of that as some of the other karts like Aiden Lorenko look to get into a rhythm. Down off into the 90s they go for the first time. Already Massimino building up an effort up in front, but all these OKN Stars make their way through to end off the first lap with Nash already in amongst the top 5, up 4 spots to start, 5 for Kremers.
Of course, a little bit of hip checking there on the start, but a fairly clean one thus far. There you see Massimino, Antonino, Gassioli, Overbeck, Nash, your top 5. And I mean, it's just a flashback to last year, Justin. James Overbeck versus Blake Nash. Blake doing what he wasn't able to do last year in the main event and get by James Overbeck. This time not for first, but for 4th on track. That being said, though, Justin, he's still within a couple seconds of our race leaders, with Antonino is close to the back end of Paulie Massimino. So Blake Nash still in a very good spot, and these two up front need to be aware that Blake Nash has a ton of pace on his EOS kart that he is piloting. They have to figure out who's going to lead, who's going to push. So I think Nash getting by Gassioli behind.
Yeah, trying to make their way on through as you watch from nearby trackside. Antonino has had good success mentioned when it comes to his junior career. Had a lot of front-running spots. Won King of the Castle at OKNJ last year, so he has the ability. But keep in mind, he's looking to try and get things sorted in senior. Up to the front he goes. Antonino up at the front. And keep in mind, the highest finish out of any of the senior runs he's had, out of the 2, in fact, major races, has been 10th. Now, look at this behind, though. Gassioli amongst those with Overbeck having to duke it on out with Kremers picking it up.
Something happened to Antonino in scoreboard. He fell down there 2 spots. Not sure what that was. Might have a replay of it, might not. Production team will be working hard to try and find that if we do have it. But Paulie Massimino defending into cell tower this time. Antonino obviously has the pace on that MPG Motorsport. A little bit of a curb strike there, slowing him down ever so slightly. Speaking of slowing down, a little bit of a bump on the front bumper of Blake Nash. That could be deployed right now. It's not dragging and it's staying place, so I don't think it is deployed. But Antonino trying it around the outside, high, wide, and handsome, unable to get it done on Paulie Massimino. Will go back down to 3rd, and here comes Marin Kremers in 4th.
Kremers waits on in the conversation. Antonino on the outside trying to pass the ball. Instead gets to Massimino. Antonino raising his hand there. Didn't like something there. Still got the 2nd as he waits behind the veteran.
Yeah, and it's just bringing all of these guys into contention. I think Paulie Massimino knows that on a straight fight on pace alone, no one else but Blake Nash is going to win this. Obviously, Antonino is not happy with the driving standard as of late, putting his hand in the air. He knows the game that Paulie Massimino is trying to play right now. We're just going to see an accordion effect for the rest of this race, Justin, where they battle a little bit, they spread out because of it, they come back together because Blake Nash gets to the lead, and leader's going to block.
Leader's not going to give an opportunity to take away the race lead and take away full control of a pack, absolutely. Kremers did get shuffled back behind Gassioli and company as well, by the way. They all zoomed their way through. Look at how much Nash has picked up. He's picked up a ton of ground up to the 90s. That time he was near equal on time, and he's all over the rear end of Massimino. Nash to the outside, trying to go for the up and under through I-70. No, instead it goes for the bump, and Massimino knows he's there. Nash trying to show the nose for shark fin, gets blocked.
It's been a beautiful defense from Paulie Massimino thus far. Has to watch the crossover from Blake Nash. Goes to the inside. Antonino defending from Gassi Elite. Contact there. Maren Kremers and Eric Doan up into third and fourth. More battling into green corner. Antonino trying to get by Kremers. Unable to. Doan will go with. And this top five has truly been shaken up from third on back. As you can see, the rest of the field, even Remy Andriados, the final driver in this battle pack.
Yeah, joining on in after what's been so many ups and downs for that 32 Kart, by the way. 99% chance that's commentator's curse. That's been kind of the weekend for that machine. But it's more focused up at the front. You still have 11 or so minutes to work with. At this point, you know there's a lot of chances for squabbling. Look at this side-by-side. Off the racetrack, Doan pushed off nearly into the flags.
Yeah, Doan getting contact there with race winner Max Christea, and they are still battling, low lining, white lining into I-70. Massimino is putting all of his years of racing against the best of Ryan Norberg, Austin Garrison, and like to hold on to this race lead. He struggled with racecraft a couple of years ago, and he's become such a more complete driver in 2025 and 2026, making him one of the best in 125 competition. Into the green corner they go yet again. Nash gets by on Kremers, who's going to fall down the order. Antonino's going to get by now.
Antonino again able to zip forward. It's been no really stable positioning, if you will, amongst this pack right now. The only stable part of all this is Massimino. He's the only one that hasn't really swapped anywhere. No one else has been really willing to just say, let's ride and wait for a minute in this field.
Yeah, no one's willing to work with each other right now. They all know that there is a huge target on the back of Blake Nash's suit for this main event. Blake is having to fight like he's never done before to win this race. Obviously, being put further back in the field has put him susceptible to this racecraft. If he would have had a couple better moto results, especially in that Heat 2 with that DNF, probably could have run away by now, but he's having to do it the hard way and show off all of his skills that he's learned here in the United States and over when he ran this package with the Tony Kart factory team in Europe. Catching up with him earlier on the weekend, he said, you know what, this just suits my driving style more than the X30 package does. It's so much more momentum-based. It helps drivers with smooth hands and who are able to be consistent. You can't just rely on that gas pedal to get you out of sticky situations like you can in X30. So a driver who makes minimal mistakes like Blake Nash, well suited in this OKN package.
Definitely so, and that's why he's been one of the fastest drivers on average on the track. A little bit of dirt kicked up that time. Right now, everyone's slowly keeping up with Paulie. Massimino still holds on. Still setting personal best, but Antonino was even quicker. That 6 ended up breaking up a streak of ups and downs in terms of the red boxes, but Antonino is ready to strike soon. He's within a couple kart lengths again. Can the youngster find their way back up in front again as he waits in the wings within a kart length? He'll have to do this fast if he wants to get this done before Nash gets there.
Paulie Massimino has not been able to run away from the pack that he would have wanted. Before this lap, of all the drivers, he was the 9th quickest go-kart on track. He's now up to 6th right now. John Antonino, he's the fastest, and he's right behind Paulie Massimino. Blake Nash in 3rd. Maren Kremers quick as well. Same with Max Christea. All the drivers that we've seen fighting for the win have been putting down some stellar lap times, but none as much than John Antonino. Purple last time across the stripe and looking to put that to good use.
Looking to try and find a way to make the move this time. Still halfway plus past the race so far. We're under 8 minutes to go in this one. There's the move. Antonino braining Nash possibly, who set a fast lap. Nash not close enough obviously for the move, but it is close enough for the 93 to make the move and then some. Got the race lead. Massimino first time in a long while behind. Nash to 2nd.
Yeah, so Massimino, I'm guessing now, isn't going to fight it too much. He is going to fight it to the inside of scoreboard. This is interesting, Justin, because I think if Paulie Massimino, who just concedes the position to Blake Nash and defends from Chase Gassi for that 3rd spot, interesting driving we're seeing here because he points forward, You know, it could have worked a little bit more with Nash. I think the smart thing to do, obviously, woulda, coulda, shoulda. We're watching this from an RV. They're actually on track, just putting that out there. But, I mean, you could have let Blake Nash by and allow him to catch up to John Antonino and potentially battle a little bit and bring you back into it. But again, a ton of hypothetical situations with still 6 minutes and 30 seconds plus 2 laps remaining.
Technically, we are in a truck, production truck, by the way. That's also looks just so happen like an RV. You can call an RV a truck if you want to. There's no law against that. In all seriousness, though, right now, Nash's times continue to circulate pretty solidly. Overbeck, battle with the Kremers, who's kind of hit a brick wall. About top 5, top 7 pace, maybe. Christea gets the move in the RMPG, but Kremers did find some good speed for the mid-run. Long run is now the test, as all you can say if you're Ramos is, I wish I was out there.
I mean, it's heartbreak for Diego. He's such a talented driver.
And same for Doan.
Same for Doan. I thought I saw him on track a couple of laps ago. Yeah, Doan's still going. Hearing that from production, just a little bit of a transponder issue. We saw that a couple laps ago, actually, with Eric Doan having a transponder issue. It might have been when he was forced off track near the scoring loop and completely missed it, potentially. So that might be causing some issues for Stars Championship Series timing and scoring officials. But he's still on track, right behind Marin Kremers.
Yeah, you're right on that part of me there. In terms of, I was thinking that previous situation. Rodriguez did have an issue. That's why he's getting scored down anyhow. But get back on track and sort it back out. Thoughts on Christea's race so far? Quietly running in the top half of this field.
I mean, I think after what happened at Charlotte Motor Speedway with that race win, he's probably going to take what is a really solid result for the rookie and probably not be too best pleased with it. Obviously stuck behind James Overbeck, the reigning king of the castle here for OKN Stars. Not the weekend he would have wanted as well here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. A couple seconds off the race lead as things stand. You can see the 48 there. Just struggling for pace ever so slightly compared to the rest of the field.
Yes. And right now, the gap is about 1 second for the race lead, for those curious, by the way. That gap has been ever increasing. That's the largest lead of the day, even bigger than Massimino's largest lead so far for Antonino. Just powered his way ahead with under 5 minutes to work with. He was the driver who won in juniors, now in senior, has been looking good, to say the least. This is looking solid for his talent, to say the least, for 2026. Right now, though, he's got to make sure he doesn't burn up his stuff, trying to make sure the gap is held here.
Personal best for Blake Nash last time by. The gap is now under a second, and if Blake Nash can find about 2.5 more tenths, he's going to be well within that slipstream of John Antonino that he is producing on board at MPG Kart Republic. Through Cell Tower once again, you can see Blake Nash, the reigning #1 plate and champion for OKN Stars in 2025. Just a bit of a waiting game right now. What does Blake Nash have underneath him? You can see his hands with those white gloves very clearly, just how smooth he is on the wheel comparative to John Antonino, who's really having to whip that wheel in some of the 90s to get that kart to respond in the way that he does, even in that final corner. And this is something Kyle Cuthbertson and I talked about off air. At the start of this weekend, you were really having to wheel those karts through the 90s. Now, like we predicted, just small, minimal movements, almost like you're not even turning the wheel. Sometimes keeping the wheel straight, using the brake pedal to get the rotation. And Blake Nash doing exactly that. Of course, you can see the little bump on Blake Nash. I don't think it's a pushback right now. It's not bobbling up and down the front bumper like you would see if it was pushed back. I just think it's a little bit of a dent right now, but at least could be something to look at in the scale line for Blake Nash. But right now he has other matters to attend to, and John Antonino up front.
Yeah. See that little dent right there? I don't think that's hampering him at all. Obviously, he's just trying to drive it on and slowly reel on in. Again, that's up to race control in terms of that discussion point later. But all this is to say, for those curious on where the pace is now falling for Massimino and the rest of the leaders up here, they've all settled in with about 107 flats. Massimino's about the pace leader in the twos that time. Antonino was 3/10 slower than Nash, though. Nash, I think, is there with a little bit. Now he's got a chance to go a lot of bit on the close with about 2 minutes to work with on the clock. Nash is setting his sights on the attack.
Question now. John Antonino is going to have to defend from Blake Nash. We're not going to speculate about that anymore. It's going to happen at this rate. The question is, has John Antonino learned enough in junior, learned enough from these senior drivers in the short time that he's been in the senior ranks? Only this is his third race, I believe, for John Antonino to defend from a reigning champion and a veteran of 125 racing that is Blake Nash. And if they start doing it too much, Paulie Massimino is right there and ready to capitalize.
Right, in terms of senior category, at least in this year, not including a start in CKA in 206 categories, where he made senior in 11th. In this type of racing, OKN Queen City Gambit, top 10. Miami Grands, 20th out of 24 karts. Today, a big step up in terms of his opportunities here. It's going to get interesting how many laps we get at the line. Right now, about a minute or so to work with. Right now, it shows they're 30. That was when they crossed the timing beacon initially, coming up to the start line. It's roughly more so about 45 that we have seconds left. This is going to get close, and if we end up going, what will be end up 17 or 18 laps here?
I think it's going to be sticks in the air next time by. 2 laps to go for these drivers, potentially, at least on our timing. I think there's still about 27 seconds left, so a little bit off on our end for that, but should be 3 to go at the line. Yes, indeed, 3 to go. Confirmation from production. John Antonino going to have to hold on a little bit more. The time that Blake Nash found the past couple of laps, he hasn't been able to sustain as much. John Antonino was faster last time about around the stripe. Clock 3, 2, 1. 2 laps to go. This time by for John Antonino, and Nash is still closing, but only just, as the draft range isn't enough for Blake Nash. I'm actually going to go back on myself, Justin. Antonino faster last time by.
Yeah, he saw his son pick back up again to be a little bit quicker than Nash. He's in the park where he needs to be. 107 flats. If you're able to maintain that like several laps like he's done, like Nash has done, you've got a really good kart, obviously, this weekend. The others, like Massimino, has hit the cliffing point. He's dropped off an extra 3/10 a lap on average in the past few. So it's Antonino's playhouse to control. All he needs to do for the next lap and a third or so is keep it on circuit. Don't melt the tires off drastically with fall off.
John Antonino looking over his shoulder one more time. If you're in that seat, don't even look back for the rest of the lap. John, head down. Blake Nash is there waiting for you to make a mistake. White flag in the air this time by, looking to make it back-to-back rookies, winning an OKN Stars, and John Antonino trying to find his second race win of the year in pro competition, adding to a spectacular win at the Miami Grand Shootout a couple of weeks ago. Into the shark fin, Nash is closing, but I don't know if it's going to be enough here, Justin. It might, though. One of the best spots is going to be into Cell Tower, and as they go into the green corner, it's still not close enough. It's looking good for John Antonino.
Antonino looking to add on to what has been really solid. You mentioned the shootout to add on to the money side. Now today looking to get himself a crown, a King of the Castle victory. The gap still about 6 kart lengths. John Antonino driving his way through. He looks to try and secure his first W in this senior class for OKN Stars. To the 90s he goes. The 93 puts up a dominant final 2/3 of the weekend. John Antonino wins in King of the Castle.
MPG go back-to-back in OKN Stars with their rookies. Stars of the future are those two between Antonino and Christea. Thumbs up to both of them. I think Blake Nash is going to think what could have been this weekend. But John Antonino gets another race win to his resume in senior. Thumbs up from Paulie Massimino, a veteran of the sport, knows just how impressive that is. There is unofficial results From the main event, John Antonino wins over Blake Nash and Paulie Massimino, rounding out your podium. Max Christia, the winner at Charlotte Motor Speedway, a respectable P4 for him. And then James Overbeck, King of the Castle last year, in 5th. Chase Gassi-Lee, Marin Kremers, Theo Corelli, Aiden Lorenko, and Remy Andriados, rounding out your unofficial top 10.
Is good, and Rowan Pazer were inside the top 12 in the lead lap. Eric Doan did finish out laps, roughly speaking, might be about 7th with the timing beacons. Well, let race control sort where that will be. Rodriguez and Ramos with the DNFs, though, in the order here today. An interesting one for John Antonino. He's able to jump to the top of the board in OKN Stars, hold on to it, and keep command over the pack. What a drive for the 93. Second consecutive win in this event. One in junior, now one in OKN Stars today. As everyone jumps in the line, it's John Antonino that gets the chance to get the congratulatory hugs in the trophy.
Congratulations incoming from Team Axia. Antonino, you are in OKN Stars.
Feels great, you know. It was a pretty rough race in the beginning. Like, I went to pass Paulie and he passed me right back, which I don't blame him at all because he just didn't seem like he had the pace. He was definitely fighting for the win, but yeah.
So take me through that race when Paulie starts defending. What was kind of the thoughts going through your head at that point?
I just was making sure I calculated all my moves, keeping my nose clean, and making sure I didn't have as much contact as possible because, you know, when stuff happens, it happens, you know. So you got to be careful with that stuff because it'll get you.
Anybody you'd like?
Yeah, MPG, Billy Vincent, Chase Jones, my dad, Tad, my mechanic, everybody back home watching, Carbless for this amazing engine, and Team Fart.
We're going to try and work our way down here to Blake Nash. As John gets the congratulations from James. Blake, P2 is all she had. It's kind of what could have been this weekend. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I think we were the car to beat the entire week. I think everyone else knew that too, so they definitely tried to make my life a little bit more difficult this week. So, yeah, I knew our package was capable of winning, and it sucks that we couldn't get the top step this time. But I want to thank my team, Nash Motorsports and Mega Power Racing Engines, for all the work they've done. We deserve better, but yeah, P2 is all she had. So, onward and upward.
Thank you, Blake. We'll see you in Cincinnati. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you very much. As OKN Stars definitely lived up to the billing, Nate, to say the very least, but the excitement levels are rising as we have one more race to go. You have the Road Stars ready to shine for our final race of the weekend. Pro Stars has put on some interesting runs, but there's been one constant, that 206, Jay Irwin, looking to back up what he did in the motos.
Yeah, Jay Irwin has been so impressive so far this weekend. All four of us picking him to win the main event here in Pro Stars. You see him debriefing Stars staff. As Coastal Link recap of these motos, the first one went the way of Jay Irwin on the hole shot. Of course, a battle between him and AJ Myers, a little bit of contact there into scoreboard, and even more into the green corner. Tale as old as time, PSL versus Magic Kart here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Eli Fox, Vincenzo Saraceno, new Burrell Art teammates, and that's been the story of Saraceno's weekend. Mechanical gremlins for that kart. Jay Irwin taking race number 1, but in Moto 2, Justin, hole shot going the way of AJ Myers.
Yes, and it was controlled by him over the front for a moment. AJ Irwin got a couple shots, in fact, on the opening lap. That included CJ Bowman right there. Both of those hits caused a little bit of chassis bend. He mentioned others at the back of the group were sent wide, and eventually the issues started coming up to play for some of the Burrell Arts. But it was still Irwin who went to duel with Myers. Back and forth he went up through I-70, parks the bus, gets the job in front. Eventually, a swap back by Myers would set up another opportunity for the win, and eventually Irwin would go on, even with the chassis issue, to pull away from the pack. Now today's the question, can he keep it up today? Remember, he had to get the chassis fixed up as a result of all those hits in Moto 2.
Yeah, Jay Irwin doesn't seem too worried about all that. AJ Myers knows he's the one doing the chasing this weekend. He's going to need something on this very long 17 minutes and 2 lap main event for our Pro Stars drivers. It's a tale of these two, hasn't it, Justin? And again, PSL versus Magic Kart at Newcastle Motorsports Park. We've seen sparks fly between those two teams with Mateus Morgado, Mario Kremers for the Red Army, but one man has stood against the rest. Two-time King of the Castle, AJ Myers, looking to make it number 3.
Looking to try and do so on his birthday weekend. See him just making the final adjustments to make sure he's all set to go. There was a lot of speed in the Magic Karts in general, though the majority of their karts in this pack at least were top half of the order yesterday through the motos. Teamwork could potentially ignite here today, but to try and unite their way up to the front. As the rest of the drivers all get squared away, your keys to victory in the Pro Stars.
I mean, obviously, the big one is the whole shot out of the gate. There's Saraceno hoping to have no technical gremlins this time by, but I mean, whole shot by far the biggest thing you got to do right off the start. Get a good launch and lead out of I-70, and then not overcook your tires, not overuse the kart you have underneath you. And know you have to last a very long time here at Newcastle Motorsports Park to be crowned King of the Castle. AJ Myers knows that far too well. He knows what victory here sounds like, what you have to do to get it. Jay Irwin gunning for that this time. One of these drivers going to be crowned at the end of this Pro Stars main event.
Jay Irwin on the pole, AJ Myers in second with Eli Fox and Jonathan Ocasio in the top 4. Any rule starting 5th with CJ Bowman down in 6th. Then you throw Cooper Becklin and Ashton Henkel. David Carmody and Sebastian Rist are inside your top 10 here this afternoon as they move on through to the back half.
Yeah, Peregrine poles, Cheek the 4th. Lowry and Saraceno in 15th. Saraceno starting from the rear, his teammate Jay Irwin starting from the front. Sometimes, we do see a little bit of games played with how quickly you get to the grid, depending on how good of friends you are with the drivers on the front row, making them wait, overheat those engines and sit for longer than you would have wanted, making those tires cool down. That being said, I'm guessing Saraceno will be quick to the back end of the starting grid to not hamper his teammate Jay Irwin that you see right there. All these drivers will be checking their microns to make sure temps are up to what they should be, and you too can get your Micron 6 at Shop AKR today. You can scan the QR code on the screen or head to shopakr.com. But Justin, you can see just how slowly these drivers are building those engines up. You can see taping thrown to the wayside. That's not mechanics or anything forgetting something. That's them opening up those radiators to allow more air in to cool those KZ power plants. And then, of course, going back, left, and right, trying to warm up those MG tires to get a good launch off the line here in a few moments' time.
It's going to be an exciting one to see if Irwin keeps up the long run pace, if Myers has found what he's needed here on this Sunday. Get the chance to keep up what has been a good resume here at this facility. They're really taking their time to get around this racetrack here before they even get towards the start. So they're not even to the 90s yet. This is the hardest I've seen them work these tires in this entire weekend. That's how much you know they want to nail this perfectly for the whole shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're not wanting to take too much out of that rubber as well to give them as much grip towards the tail end of this main event as possible. Don't want to risk any tire issues here today. A little further up, just going past our camera, Andy Rule for Magic Kart USA, starting P5. Of course, if anything were to happen to those two drivers up front, Annie Rule's quest to become queen of the castle could come true today, but it's going to take a lot of luck and a lot of circumstance for these drivers up front. Into the grid lines we go. The final time on the weekend for Pro Stars and the final race on the weekend for the Stars Championship Series. It's all about to go green here, Justin.
All of the drivers are ready. They'll get the chance to fire. We're happy to have you with us for the Pro Stars. Ready to go. King of the Castle is set to go. Let's go to the lights and listen in. As you can tell, the outside working, but look at that race review already for the start. Myers got the whole shot initially.
Yeah, race start under review. That could just be procedure from race control. It's something we see a lot in IMSA and other sports car racing championships where immediately after the start, it goes under review. Speaking of after the start, AJ Myers having to go defensive from Jay Irwin. And when will the game start if they haven't already for AJ Myers? He's going to have to be quick out of the gate, and he was on this opening half a lap over Jay Irwin, already putting time between himself and the rest of the field. AJ Myers leading out of blue corner.
Myers now already going to defense for the 90s also. Knows how important it is to try and hold back. This is going to be difficult to do, though, for 16, 17 minutes. Irwin to the lead already. Myers lets him by. Myers back to the outside. The Magic Man side by side up the front straight away.
Side-by-side contact between the two of them into I-70. One driver going off into the wayside out of I-70. Side-by-side, Eli Fox from the top 5 is out of this race, and CJ Bowman now into this fight for the lead. That could have been so much worse for those front two going through turn 1 side-by-side, and they'll do it again going into green corner. Myers to the inside to the race lead.
Myers again up front, and he's got Bowman right behind him as well, joining in along with Irwin. These three trying to run away from everybody else. They built before this a more than 3/4 tenths cushion, and it's growing rapidly with all the squabbling going on behind Ocasio and company. So already, Myers making it clear he's here to have some fun and try and win this out. Irwin looking to reset.
AJ Myers saw all 4 of us pick Jay Irwin. He took that personally off the start, leading the way in strong fashion. For him, Jay Irwin not looking like the Jay we've seen all throughout this weekend. He's making mistakes, he's dropping tires, he's getting desperate. Is that PSL 206 Barrel Art? And still struggling to get by AJ Myers, but as we know, AJ is such a fierce competitor in the Pro Shifter divisions and Pro Stars. Here at the Stars Championship Series, CJ Bowman, purple last time by, a 1:08 .376 for the Magic Card driver, our Rookie of the Year in Pro Shifter competition in 2025 for the KC Awards, is looking at a maiden podium here and potentially at this rate a race win, Justin.
Yeah, especially with drivers like David Carmody up inside the top 4 trying to figure things out, but already 1.3 seconds back. Hottest track temp of the day, by the way. Can't you tell? This is the most challenging part of the day, and we're saving the best for last for the tires to become toasty.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for these Pro Shifter drivers because that's just going to make a track even more greasy. It's going to make it so crucial to manage your pace at the start of this run. The question could be if Jay Irwin is doing exactly that and he's just waiting for his moment for AJ Myers to fall off. We know AJ has been very quick in the first 5 to 7 minutes of these races and started to fall back. There's confirmation of that, a 106.3 for the Magic Man, just proving that these Magic Cards between himself and CJ Bowman have a ton of pace off the gate. But as we've seen before between Jay Irwin in the past, between when Mateus Morgado was infamous for doing it in the past couple of years, those barrel arts are fast at the end of a session.
I think the 202 may have had an issue, by the way, in the backdrop because they just went from 4th to 13. Usually that's a sign of an off track. And Carmody has gone from being up in the front contention to being well down. Henkel is now the one outside the top 3 battle. Top 2 are taken off from Bowman. Hearing Saraceno just also had a retirement, so that adds again to his weekend.
I talked to Vincenzo on air, yes. A base full of dirt right now, is they're still very close. Has to be said, Justin. A couple of tenths separating them, but you're going to expect those slightly larger gaps in this shifter division, not wanting to follow as closely. Even with the drop tire, though, Jay Irwin, fastest on track right now, dropping into the 1:05 range of times and continuing these two to run away from the rest of the field. CJ Bowman 1.9 seconds back from his teammate AJ Myers, and well without a draft from Jay Irwin, Henkel, and Becklin. Two other PSL barrel arts there as well, but not contending for the race win like these two.
Yeah, Myers hasn't given up yet. We're almost at that crossover point we've been seeing over the weekend, though. It's similar to that of Moto 2, where we've seen Myers take control early, and then eventually Irwin get the chance. Now for Irwin, he's picking up speed. They're both in the 105.6s, though. So Myers definitely has the tempo for now, but Irwin is making it to where they both have to be right on top, be up on top of that wheel. Everybody else is nearly up to a second behind them on pace.
Here we go. In front, he got by into the shark fin there, Justin, and the battling continues. His AJ saving enough into the grass. AJ Myers around, contact between the two of them. Unfortunate for AJ Myers, he is not happy with that. He's gonna try and get that magic cart restarted. What on earth happened to AJ Myers there, going into the green corner? Contact between the two of them and Jay Irwin. That kink going in is really hard to go side by side in these higher horsepower packages, and we saw exactly that contact between the two of them. Kyle Cuthbertson was talking about it in the morning show that it might happen. It did for these two.
And so the tempers pop up indeed. Again, you mentioned it was initially set up, as you said, with the run of the shark fin. Got the side-by-side opportunity, makes it work, and now Irwin has well and truly a dominant command. Here's the look again.
Through the kink, Jay not really giving AJ a lane there, hitting the curb as the barrier as well, excuse me. So we'll look at that again from the angle we saw it on the broadcast. Jay, I don't know. I mean, obviously that's up for the race stewards to do, but I think that paints a picture pretty well of what happened. And if there is a penalty, CJ Bowman is in the seat to convert and potentially get not only his first podium in pro shifter competition, but his first win, be crowned king of the castle. One of the retirements in this race, Eli Fox. We saw him go for a scary one at I-70. Xander Clements is down trackside with him.
Thank you, Nate. Tough day here for Eli Fox. Eli, you had such a great weekend going, and then we barely caught a glimpse of you with a wild ride at the end of the opening lap. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't nail the start by any means. I was just trying to kind of stay patient. I knew we got a really long race. And was just going to maintain and try and pick off a few guys over the beginning of a few laps and get back into position to hopefully get a podium or maybe even challenge for the win. But, you know, go down into 70, and there's a bunch of crap in my rotor. I don't know what happened, but the right front brake just never engaged and pulled pretty wicked to the left, and there wasn't a whole lot I could do.
Tough break, Eli. We look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Xander. Right now, all eyes not only on Irwin, but some of these other battles that have been going on all race. Good race for Rule, decent run for Wrist. You have Ocasio also doing well while busy with school. Right now, that Magic Cart, the two of the Magic Carts in a line, rather, all trying to hold back Wrist.
Yeah, absolutely. Subplot for these guys is a little crazy right now. As AJ Myers did refire. He's back on track, I believe. Still a long ways back. Jay Irwin resetting fast time, putting more distance in between himself and CJ Bowman. As another driver under the barrel art tent of Vincenzo Saraceno. An unfortunate weekend for him. He caught up with Xander.
Vincenzo, your foray with PSL and Biro Art started good out in the desert, and man, did you have speed this weekend, but what happened?
Honestly, I don't know. We're still trying to figure it out. If it's electrical or fuel related, we don't know. We just changed everything, all the fuel lines, all the electrical parts, so I'm not sure.
Tough break here, Vincenzo. Good luck in the next one.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Xander.
Back to you guys.
It's a terrible feeling when you can't even control your own destiny like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he mentioned electronics or fuel. Those are the two that will kill you on a race weekend because it's so hard to diagnose those two. If the chassis isn't behaving right, then there are measures you can take to figure that out. Fuel and electronics, those gremlins can haunt you for a race weekend, and it's done exactly that for Vincenzo Saracino. Heartbreaking for him. Hardworking driver making the switch to PSL Barrel Art this year. Of course, he impressed so many of us in Tucson earlier on in the season, but here was not meant to be for King of the Castle.
Right now, as they zip about with about 6:20-ish to work with on the board. Everyone tries to figure out where they're going to settle in for the pylon. If there was a penalty, Ocasio would be in a good spot here. Again, University of Kentucky is where he studies currently student-wise. Also runs with a fair amount of drivers still on the sim side of the college scene. A series called CIL was done well in that. Looks solid here. But remember, he's one of those that got argy-bargy right here with contact already initially.
Yeah, contact between so many of these drivers. We were doing an interview when we saw that live, so unfortunately we missed that. And again, another PSL driver that it did not go the way that they would have wanted. Ashton Hankel caught up with Xander Clemens.
Certainly been a rough day for the boys in the Red Army. Vincenzo out, Eli out, and Ashton, here you are in the scale line a couple laps earlier than anticipated. What happened?
Just a couple people tried to come through. Second person tried to get through, and there was just some contact on the way out of the shark fin there. Unfortunate, you know. I thought I was doing pretty good, but it's all right. Happens.
And what can you make out of this weekend? You were fourth and battling for what would have been a potential podium, depending how the race could have played out from that point. Can you take away some positives from this week?
Well, now I know I have the pace, and I know I can do it, so now I'm just looking to come into next weekend with a better mindset. Hope I can stay up there next time.
Tough break here, Ashton, but we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you once again, Xander. Again, Xander's been so busy over the course this weekend here behind the scenes. CJ Bowman, we talked about, again, your mention in terms of the fan vote, in terms of the awards with KC last year. Bowman's been a solid driver, seen him be fairly competitive. He was top 5, remember, the Queen City Gambit. So he's got in competitive races. He's been a top 5 driver as well when he made starts in night fight. So for Bowman to at least get at minimum second place here is definitely an impressive drive for what will be a happy day for him, and I think for this entire time. Most of the time, he's been top 5, top 10. This being the first top 3.
Yeah, that'll be huge for CJ, a driver that's shown so much promise over the years that we've been watching him, in the short time that we've been watching him. So there's a look back at AJ Myers. He's going to be having to deal with some slower traffic. He's not done with this yet, but for Bowman, I mean, he was so close to a podium at Quaker City last season. He was on it just for a little bit until a penalty got overturned. He got pushed back to 4th there. This will be a huge result for him and Magic Kart. Of course, not the Magic Kart we would have expected. Really challenging in that second spot. It would have been this one, AJ Myers, who's having to fight his way past Tegan Poles now through the shark fin. But a lot to unpack after this one, Justin. A lot for race control to look at as well. Only 3 minutes, 2 laps remain for King of the Castle this year.
Pass down on Poles. That is a big zip as Poles, I think, missed a shift there with the slowdown coming off the corner. At the very least, Myers going to try and get a decent points finish if he can out of this one. After being up in front during the motos, he'll be at least mid-pack with the final on recovery albeit 17 seconds back of the race leader. Net time he lost after the spin, only about a second, because he gathered up about 16.6 seconds behind the race leader. As we go about some of the other times of note, things have, for the most part, solidified here on the long run again for Irwin. Still 7+ seconds is still that gap here. PSL Karting unofficially is in line for a potential top 2 drivers on the podium, despite losing 2 of their other karts and 3 total Burrell arts over the course of this one with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, I mean, both teams between PSL, Burrell Arts, and Magic Karts have had strong contingents this weekend between the 2 of them, occupying most of the tower space that we have on our ticker. Right now at the very top, Jay Irwin could have been between those 2, and the man we see on screen now, the Magic Man, down barely inside the top 10, up into 8th last time by. It's going to be heartbreak for that squad. He's trying desperately not to use his drop so early on in the season, hoping to see more entries later on to potentially help that out for Clash of the Club and Night Fight later on in the 2026 Stars Championship Series season. But Jay Irwin leading this race. He's been doing everything he's need to so far as things stand.
Something just happened to Becklin because he just lost a ton of spots here. All of a sudden ran 2 seconds off the pace. Ocasio, as a result, just took away that spot with wrist right on the pressure too for the 3rd step of the podium. So obviously at the middle of the group on the track, things are getting wild, because here's the look at wrist over the rear end of Ocasio. Ocasio looking to try and get a podium. Rule is in the conversation too in case things get over spicy.
Be a really cool story for Andy Rule to get back on the podium here at Stars Championship Series. Not sure if she's been able to do it. If she has, it's been a very long time for that driver, and just 2 spots away is she from being on the 3rd step of the podium. Just missed the 2 lap to go board, so it'll be 2 to go next time by for the race leader, that is Jay Irwin. 2 more laps to close this one out. What's been a thrilling Pro Stars main event in that first half, with Jay Irwin and AJ Myers going at it, and then obviously the contact through this section here out of scoreboard. The kink right before green corner uphill. Difficult to fit 2 karts, especially Pro Shifters, Pro Stars, side by side through that corner. Of course, we'll have to wait and see what the final result of that is. But in the here now, Ocasio holding off for a potential podium here at King of the Castle. Final class on track, looking to make it 2 Magic Karts on it, but Sebastian Rist wheeling that Maranello Carlos powered kart to try and get by for 3rd.
Couple laps to go, 2 laps to go. Irwin just delayed, took it. For Ocasio, by the way, has made some spot starts at the national scene while busy studying at university. Picked up some wins in club races in recent times. Ranking of the Castle was towards the back last year for reference. This year, definitely looking much stronger on the track with how things have steadied out here in Pro Stars. And now today, looking to build off what would actually be his 2nd win of the year in a race. He did win a club race at MCC Cincinnati. Now, more importantly, he gets a national one. That's, I think, more said when it comes to a podium here.
Yeah, I mean, for these drivers, these club races are just test sessions essentially for them, and for them to go out and have fun. These are the races that matter, are these national events for most of these drivers. There'll be 1 to go shortly when Jay Irwin crosses the line. But still, this battle for 3rd continuing to heat up. Sebastian Rist losing a little bit of time to Ocasio out in front. Again, a driver who's won here before at King of the Castle and shifter competition, not in the Pro Stars division, but still knows how to get it done around the 1 mile circuit.
You know who's also been able to get it done before with wins when it comes to this type of racing? Jay Irwin. Irwin's been able to control this race now by 10+ seconds this entire weekend. The PSL karting machine has been so difficult to keep up with the long run. This entire run, it was the only kart to stay in these 105s. Every other driver consistently, outside of maybe Myers, who's still in traffic, has ran in the 106s. For Irwin, he nailed the setup, nailed the line, nailed the speed. For Jay Irwin, a gap of more than 10 seconds is well more than enough to say he's 10 to the castle, the winner today in Stars.
Gets it done. Dominating fashion, 10 seconds over the field. Jay Irwin will add another tally onto the KC wall of winners 2026. How about it for young Jay Irwin, the Kiwi, getting it done in Newcastle.
Jay Irwin, there was no way to describe it other than domination in terms of what he did today. See how things go unofficially though. CJ Bowman is still 10.6 seconds behind. Cassio in the top 3. Rist and Rule in the top 5 with AJ Myers recovering solidly to 6th. Becklin, Pedragon along with Poles, Lowry, your top 10.
Yeah, and a lot of DNFs there, as you can see. Talking to most of them did Xander Clements, but Jay Irwin, there's one more thing to do before he is crowned King of the Castle. Sundays are for donuts here at Stars Championship Series, and Jay Irwin, he's got to burn it down.
After all, they like to see donuts if you have a gearbox. Time to go loop-de-loop. Irwin with the celebration. Perfect parking spot.
Almost perfect. Just facing the wrong way, Jay, but that is big for him. Kyle Cuthbertson, you're standing with our King of the Castle.
Good job, dude. Jay Irwin, you are the King of the Castle. First of all, tell me about the contact with AJ Myers.
To be honest, I didn't actually see him there because he was like behind me in that bit. So yeah, I don't know. So I'm gonna have to watch it back on Kart Chaser and see. But for me, it was a good race. I had good pace considering. So yeah, I'm really happy.
You're getting pretty good at this donut thing. Tell me about looking ahead to the rest of the season, and you know, we come back to this track a lot. How much confidence does this fill you with?
Yeah, you know, this is it's good. You know, a win's always good. So yeah, and I quite like this track in this direction. So yeah, I'm happy.
King Jay Irwin the 6th. How's that feel?
It's good.
Congratulations, Jay Irwin. We're going to go down to Xander with CJ Bowman.
Career best here in the unofficial results. Second is the number plate here. CJ, talk to me about that main event. A whole lot transpired. You've had a lot of speed this weekend, too.
Yeah. Well, just I had a great start. Hung around the outside, gained, what was I, in 4th there, 3rd? Honestly, I don't know. I saw Jay Irwin just kill my teammate, and then I kind of just drove what I was doing. It felt like practice almost. It was kind of just on an island. Kind of just assuming Irwin's going to get a penalty. If he doesn't, he deserves one. So I know I won this race, but we'll see what it says officially here in a minute.
We certainly will here. Regardless, congratulations on getting some hardware, and it's a heck of a way to start the summer that ended pretty good for you in Quaker City last year. Congrats.
Thank you.
That's CJ Bowman, boys. We'll go back to you.
Spicy words there to say the very least, as let's get things geared up here and talk about points, because this is what it looks like pre-drop currently. Myers would still have the advantage here over Irwin on the projections. CJ Bowman tied for 2nd. Remember, that's because Irwin had such a disaster to start the season.
Yeah, I was going to say, going into this weekend, AJ Myers, Jay Irwin was 11th in points going into this after what you said, Justin, was a disastrous run at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Speaking of the points leader, let's hear from him with Xander.
So much speed here this weekend, starting off with a pole award, and it just seems like that cartoon anvil keeps on hitting you here in 2026, AJ. Talk to me about what happened out there.
Honestly, I'm really proud of the team and Magic Kart and Sauna USA. I think the package there in the final was phenomenal. I think we went the right way. We had the pace to win. And honestly, those first couple laps was amazing fun racing. Obviously, we saw what happened, and I'm absolutely not happy with that. But, yeah, I mean, I don't I don't know why we had to put me out in the dirt. I mean, I knew what he did, but racing's racing. I hope there's a penalty, but we move on.
On the here, I'm sure it's a very proud moment for you to see CJ Bowman have the speed that he had this weekend. That's got to be at least a pretty good 30th birthday present, huh?
Yeah, I'm getting old, but yeah, CJ did me proud. I hope it gets turned to a win because when you're racing, it's me and Jay. We knew coming into the weekend it was going to be me versus Jay. So if I knew I could just take out the other guy and get like a 10-second penalty, then that's fair. So props to him.
Well, either way, congratulations and happy belated, AJ.
Thank you.
That's AJ Myers, boy.
Well, some spicy words again, but to take more of the attention to the action, it's been an exciting weekend. These geese have had some enjoyment of the action. How have you enjoyed the action?
They haven't feared any go-kart all weekend long, and they are still there all weekend. I mean, shout out to them. It's been an incredible weekend thus far, but we're going to go back down to Kyle Cuthbertson with Sebastian Rist. P4 finish for him.
Sebastian Rist, it's been a big day of career best. P4, tell me about it.
Yeah, oh, sorry, I'm a little out of breath. Yeah, I thought it was a great race, you know. Had a decent start, just picking off positions, you know. And every time I felt like I got up to the guy in front of me, I made a mistake. I felt like, yeah, it was a great race. Definitely a very clean drive. Yeah, I'm happy with P4. Yeah.
We talked to your coach, Josh Conker, earlier in the week. Tell me about the progression so early on in your shifter racing career and how far you think you've come.
I think, yeah, I'm very proud of the, you know, progress I made so far in just 2 races in the season, you know. P6 at Charlotte, provisional P4 here in Indiana, and yeah, I'm very proud of myself and definitely things that we can improve on. Yeah, I'm excited to see how the rest of the season goes.
Thank you, Sebastian. We're going to now send it to Xander Clements with P3 finisher Jonathan Ocasio.
Jonathan, what a wild, wild way to get your first career Pro Stars podium against the field like this. And talk to me. You had a bird's eye view of about almost everything that went down over the last 18 minutes plus 2 laps.
Yeah, there was a lot that was going on. I was just kind of like in my own world, I guess, just living and trying to fight my way through. The car was kind of slow at the beginning. I knew it was going to come later, so I just had to keep trying to fight my way through. And next thing I know, I saw AJ was backwards. I don't know what happened there. Just, I guess, more by rail magic one-on-one, I guess. And then I was in, I think, 5th or 6th, and then eventually just kind of made my way through. The car came in really well at the end, and yeah, I'm a little sweaty.
Talk to you about the emotions going through you right now, man. First career podium. What does that mean to you?
I don't think this was ever going to come, to be honest. It was we raced 3 nationals a year. My parents sacrificed a lot. Like, God just keeps blessing us every time we were at a racetrack, and I try my best to learn as much as I can every weekend because I know the next one's going to be a little bit before we get back in the kart. And yeah, it means a lot. Maybe for some people, 3rd place isn't a lot, but for me, this is just a win for me.
Congratulations, Jonathan.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That wraps it up here with our post-race interviews.
Thank you very much, guys. He is absolutely elated here. Oh, look, they made it into the water. In all seriousness, though, final thoughts on this weekend, Nate. After what's been a whirlwind of the weekend, we've seen a lot of progression with these guys. We've seen a lot of progression from our drivers.
I mean, Newcastle Motorsports Park always delivers. Same too with the Stars Championship Series. Incredibly close racing all weekend, and just a testament to Christian Marsh and what his crew with NKA, the Stars Championship Series, are able to do and to put on these events. A big thank you to them for allowing us to be here and show the action. But for myself, Justin, incredible weekend of racing. Cannot wait for round 3 at Cincinnati.
I can't wait to see what happens either, because this has been already a spicy weekend to say the least, and we still have 2 more rounds to go in Stars competition with Clash at the Club in July on the 10th to 12th for that weekend, and then Night Fight in September under the lights for the 10th to 12th there over at Trackhouse Motorplex to close out 2026 for its campaigns there. An exciting weekend that's seen plenty of battles. Your Coastal Inc. recap to showcase some of your final pictures. As we look at some of the various highlights here, I'd like to thank a lot of people here this weekend. I'd like to thank Baraco as part of our pre-race coverage for today, as part of its sponsor, as well as many of our partners here at Kart Chaser. I'd like to thank you, the fans, for watching along with today's racing action and throughout this entire weekend. for some of the most phenomenal racing you'll see here at Newcastle. But on that note, it's time to say goodbye. For Grace Overbeck, for Sandra Clements, for Nate Dean, for Kyle Cuthbertson, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching Stars and King of the Castle from Newcastle.
This broadcast is the sole property of Kart Chaser Group, LLC. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of the images, audio, or accounts of this event, in whole or in part, without the expressed written consent of Kart Chaser Group, LLC is strictly prohibited. Thanks for watching.
You're all Kart Chasers! Wave! Oh no!
So as we wrap up the day here for Stars King of the Castle, check. Check. Check 1, 2. All right. Apologies for the delay there. Stars King of the Castle wrapping up for round 2 of the Stars Championship Series. Going to get podiums underway with our KA Masters class. Coming in 3rd place on the weekend, Nicholas Coelho.
Hey guys, I'm starting. I don't think they can hear you out here.
So Nicky Coelho coming in 3rd place on the day. Wait for him. I don't know if Nicky is in the building. We'll move on to 2nd for the time being. The number 1 plate of John Bonanno. And then your winner in King of the Castle and KA Masters, the 204 of Anthony Stifler. Pictures being taken. Congrats to our KA Masters drivers. The closest fields this weekend. Moving on to our Micro Swifts next on the podium. Coming in third place on the weekend, Liam Compitiello. Finishing in second place for Team Bennick, Bo Wyatt. And then your winner in Micro Swift and King of the Castle for this category, Trey Sanders. Raise those trophies high. Top 3 in Micro this weekend. Put on quite a performance. All good for our Micro Swift drivers. We'll clear the podium. Move on to Pro Shifter Master. Coming in third place for our Pro Shift Supermasters. This time here in Newcastle Motorsports Park, Osley Cheek the third. So Osley Cheek the third coming in fourth, coming third. Second place on the weekend in Supermasters, Tim Hannon. Then your winner in Supermasters, the 531 of John Crow. So congrats to our Supermasters. Next up, the KZ Masters, the Pro Masters on the podium next. Coming in third place, Matt Machiko. Number 3 plate and the Magic Kart driver, Matt Machiko, coming in third place on the weekend. Move on to second, 633 Rocket Racing Company of Cole Matthewson. And then your winner in dominating fashion for PSL Karting and Barrel Alert, the number 1 plate of Jordan Musser. So congrats to our Master Shifter drivers. We're moving on to our KA Juniors. Back into the single speed divisions. Coming in third place on the weekend, the 892 TKG Barrel Art of Nico Katowski. Coming in second place for Brandon Jarzakrak Racing, Marco Samet. And then your winner on debut with his new team, the number 1 plate of Travis Pettit. So congrats to our KA Junior drivers. We're moving on to the next class, the Swift Stars on the podium next. Coming in third place, the 188 of Slate Harrell. Finishing runner-up in Swift Stars, the Bennick of Dutch Westbrook. And then your winner in Swift Stars and King of the Castle, Enzo Ramos. So you can raise those trophies high. Swift Star Podium here from Newcastle. So congrats to our Swift drivers. KA Stars on the podium next. Coming in third place, the 919 Brandon Jarsacrack Racing of Christopher McKeithen. Finishing in second place for Rocket Racing Company, the 953 of Alan Isambard. And then taking the win in KA Stars for MPG Motorsports and Kart Republic, the 954 of Austin Olds. So congrats to our KA Stars drivers. Moving on to the Pro Show classes next. First up, OKN Junior. Coming in third place for Nash Motorsports, Cameron Johnson. In second place on the day, the 111 for RPM, Tristan Murphy. And then your winner in King of the Castle and OKN Junior, the 174 for Parolin Maxwell Macha. So congrats to our junior drivers in OKN. Just a couple more classes to go. It's the OKN Stars on the podium next. Coming in third place for Brandon Jarsacrack Racing, Paulie Massimino. Coming in second, and your reigning series champion for Nash Motorsports, Blake Nash. Then making it back-to-back wins for MPG Motorsports in the OKN Stars class, the 93 of John Antonino. So congrats to our OKN Stars podium. One left on the weekend, and that is our Pro Stars, finishing in third, the 222 of Sebastian Rist. Coming in second place after a hard-fought podium fight, the Magic Car, the 235 of Jonathan Ocasio. And then your winner in Pro Stars main event action, the King of the Castle from New Zealand, the 206 from PSL Karting, Jay Irwin. So congrats to our Pro Stars driver. Quick housekeeping item from Stars Championship Series. A couple of the trophies maybe a little broken. If you bring that up with Stars, they will happily replace that with you drivers. But for us at Kart Chaser, thank you for watching the 2026 edition of the Stars Championship Series powered by Mazda Motorsports. King of the Castle, we'll see you for round 3 at MCC of Cincinnati.
This broadcast is the sole property of Kart Chaser Group, LLC. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of the images, audio, or accounts of this event, in whole or in part, without the express written consent of Kart Chaser Group, LLC is strictly prohibited. Thanks for watching.